evening, everyone, and welcome to another installment of TED Excellence, the first TED Excellence, the first broadcast, the first video I've done in my 8th year starting on YouTube. And I come to you live from Crater Valley on the moon with Dogcat Fox, a Pepperjack, and all of you. Good evening, everyone. Welcome again to Thursday. Theatrical Thursday. Yes, I'm sure there's going to be plenty of theater this evening with our subject. I just have a feeling, but I'll get into that in a moment. First, who's joining me this beautiful Thursday evening? Kiro Soldier, hello. John Miller, hello. Derek LaRue, hold on a second here because StreamYard is taking its sweet time. Derek LaRue, thank you so much, as always, for your continued generosity and support. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. Hope you're having a good evening and hope you enjoyed the show yesterday. I think you did. I know I did. I'll talk about that in a second as well. One Ton Hammer, hello. Who else is here? John Miller, did I already say hello? Hello, John Miller. Advocatus Diaboli, hello. Noah Asensio, hello. Tall Person, hello. Shadowclaw, hello. Bearded Devil, 1864, hello. Blakester, hello. Twisted Skipster, hello. Robert Pincus, hello. Shady Grin, hello. Resolute Germ, hello. Cryptic, thank you so much. Yay, more TED AIDS. Is that like a fundraiser done to like collect money for people in need of bad speaking presentation skills or something? TED AIDS, like, you know, anyways. Never mind. Ebony Williams, hello. Urkulady Stefano, hello. Who else is here? Shell D, hello. Vercingetorix, hello. Long time no see, I think. Jack Frost, hello. Jamie Melquist, hello. Dixie Rose, 63, hello. And I think that is everyone. And also, Twisted Skipster got married. Yes, over in the Discord, Twisted let us know that he went and done got eloped. Well, congratulations to the new bride and groom. Many happy salutations. Is that what it is? Many returns? Whatever it is, I wish you both well in your future endeavors with each other, being a family. Yes. But yeah, real quick, I want to reminisce just for a second on yesterday's 7th anniversary extravaganza. Holy cat. So I figured I would, like, you know, shoot for the moon and hope for the mountains as far as how many people I invited and who could possibly make it. And boy, howdy, everybody made it. I was honestly not expecting, even people who said they might be able to make it. I was kind of thinking, oh, okay, you know, whatever. But just about everybody showed up, and that was amazing and a little overwhelming and chaotic, but it was awesome. And I want to thank everybody again who showed up to partake of the TEDx. I had like 3 TEDx's lined up, because I figured I'd be running mostly solo, maybe with 1 or 2 extra people. So I'd have something to fill the time. But man, with all the conversations and stories and jokes and crosstalk and everything, that one TEDx was the perfect TEDx for that event. Everybody seemed to have a good time with it. And I know I did too. And those of you that joined us all for that celebration yesterday, thank you for hanging out with us. For those of you that watched it after the fact because of timing and everything, I'm sorry. I tried to schedule it so I wouldn't step on the toes of most of my other friends' streams, because like I didn't want to completely step on AAA, and I didn't want to, yeah, there's other things too. So I was trying to stay right in that sweet spot. But yeah, and again, for those of you that might have missed it otherwise, and for those of you that have stuck around with me for either all 7 years or last 7 minutes, either way, thank you guys so much for your attendance and participation and your support over the years. I really do appreciate it. A couple more hellos, and then I'll start talking about our subject. Mark Smart, hello. Adabisi, hello. And did I miss anybody? I hope I didn't. If I did, I apologize. So yes, if I missed you, if you're lurking, if you're in the future, hello. All right. So tonight, one that was almost a part of yesterday's stream, but thankfully I had it left over. What's your Starbucks name? Reclaiming ethnic and black names. Yes. Have you ever had your name misspelled or misinterpreted at Starbucks? I said I wasn't going to do this. It happened to me. It was about 6 years ago. And I went down to the regular Starbucks, like at the place I go every day. around the same time, because I get my grande hot chocolate with no whip. I don't get whip because, I'm watching my girlish figure. And I went up to the counter and, I don't have a very complicated name, but I was like, okay, what name shall I put on that cup? And I told him. And then I went over to the little corner with the little, rounded counter at the end of the bar where you have to wait for your drink. And I wasn't expecting anything, bad to happen that day. It was just a regular day. I was just going to get my cocoa. I need my cocoa it's my comfort. I trudge myself to work at like 6 a.m. and it's cold and it's rainy sometimes. And I get there and I got to do all this stuff right in the morning because we have clients on the East Coast and it has to get done in time for them. And then when I'm done with that first morning stuff, the first phase of my job, I need my comfort. So that's the place that I go. And so I'm waiting there for my cocoa. And they hand it out. And the lady calls out, grande hot chocolate for Ralph. And I just stand there because I'm not Ralph. It doesn't even sound like my name. But I'm standing there. And then, like, the people behind me that were in line, they start waiting next to me because they're waiting for their drinks. And then, like, caramel macchiato for Susanna. And then Susanna, the lady that was right behind me, grabs her drink and walks off. And I'm thinking, am I Ralph? I mean, is that me now? Is that my identity? Is this like Ellis Island in the 1900s and I've been given a new name against my will? Like, my name's not good enough and now I'm Ralph. So yes, I have had that pain. I have experienced that trauma. I can only assume that the speaker and I have something in common as a result of this. That's my baseline for what the title seems to say to me. Thank you, Alan Thyler. I'm always going to say it that way because I remind myself it's pronounced like the thigh, like someone's thigh, Thyler. Yeah, I got to do that because I got to make sure I pronounce your name correctly. That's what I do here. I check to make sure that everybody's name, as best as I can do, is pronounced correctly. I owe you at least that amount of respect. I don't want to be an oppressor. Okay. Well, with all of that drama out of the way, I can only imagine that our speaker's tale of woe is worse than mine. So let's start off with this one. First off, at the top of the chat box, if you take a look, there are some GoFundMes pinned up there. First and foremost, to a true crime content creator that you may or may not have heard of, but either way, his title is Morbid Curiosity. He is, last I knew, in serious condition in the hospital with pneumonia and also, unfortunately, without medical insurance. So if you have a chance, take a look at that one. Secondly, on there, just as important as far as I'm concerned, Maddie, another YouTuber friend of ours, she has just been diagnosed with cancer recently, and she's trying to pay for some deductibles for cancer treatment. Take a look at that one, please. And lastly, Angry Illinoisian, he got injured during work and is on workers' comp, and his family needs some support in that time. And so if you take a look at those, if you can donate, please do so, and thank you so much. If you can't donate, that's fine, but if you can, share those out on social media, your Facebooks, your Twitters, your LimeWire, your Napster, your Facebook, and your Facebooks, and your LiveJournal, that'd be appreciated. Thank you guys so much for that. And Alan Thyler, thank you again. Holy cats. That's very generous of you, Alan. Appreciate it very much. All right. So with all that, let's get into this. Tonight's bingo card is bingo card C. C as in caramel macchiato, as decided upon you, the viewers, on the poll on Twitter to choose which bingo card we'd go for. If you'd like to join in on the poll each week to choose the bingo card, just follow me on Twitter there. Sorry. X. Follow me on X. Scribe_light. And the bingo card links are in the description. Get your bingo card C ready. And with all of that as preamble, again, we have an 11-minute, 33-second presentation. Start off with a few seconds for a sound test, then we'll begin. It's at Wrigleyville again. It's at the baseball stadium, one of my favorites. Usually they have pretty good audio. Here we go.
Thank you. Hello again.
Again? For the first time? Okay.
My name is Abiodun Durojaye.
Congratulations. You got to hear that all right. Here it says Advocatus Diaboli. Sounds good, says Hammer. Derek Lewis says sound is fine. And Miranda Stone, hello. Cynic, hello. 01 Portnoy, hello. Kashul, hello. Anybody else I missed that I can see here? Did I say hello to Roger Reynolds? If I didn't, hello, Roger Reynolds. All right. So, and thank you, Miranda Stone, for putting my wonderful Twitter link into the chat. All right. So, what's up?
That's Abiodun.
Abiodo.
It has not always been easy to stand in such capacity and introduce myself by my name.
Many of us are nervous about public speaking.
Like my actual real name.
Your actual real name? Okay.
It is only now as an adult that I am able to do so and that I understand the importance of helping people to pronounce my name.
Okay. I mean, admittedly, I do want to pronounce people's names correctly, you know, just because, well, I want to learn something if I don't know how to do it otherwise, you know, but sometimes it's difficult. You know, I've told this story before. I had a customer walk in one time when I worked at a video store, and I pulled up his account, never met the guy before, but looked at his name, and I glanced at it. And if I just said it as a verification of who I was talking to without thinking too hard, I would have said Carpenter. But instead, I looked, and it ended with IER. And I said, Mr. Charpentier? And he's like, oh, everybody calls me Carpenter. Because, you know, it's like, as I look for a second, I try my best. I try my best, you know, and I take a risk sometimes, and sometimes I get it wrong. And most people, I appreciate the attempt, appreciate the effort. And then they correct me, and I learn, and I try to remember for the next time, you know. But you only learn now as an adult. Okay, I'm getting all over the place. Thank you, Adibisi. Crap, it's a Nigerian. Apologies on behalf. Americans started this. I don't know. I know your name from the TV show Oz, right? I mean, I suppose it's an unfortunate relation because the character in Oz is not a nice person, but I know that name. I learned that name many years ago. So the first time that I saw you in the chat years and years ago now, I was like, I know how to say that. Also, meh, she doesn't articulate very well, so maybe that's, oh, now hold on. Let's keep it civil, everyone. I know. Let's see where she goes. But thank you, Adibisi.
I was born in Lagos, Nigeria, but my family and I moved here when I was about 9 years old.
Okay, so, all right. Gotcha. Just sort of processing the information here.
One of my fondest memories is...
Oh, wait, that is a childhood or family anecdote. Pardon me. Going over to the bingo card real quick, circling childhood or family anecdote. I'll review the card in a little bit.
Starting elementary school.
Mm-hmm. Oh, were kids mean and made fun of you because of your unfamiliar name?
I remember walking into the building with my parents, signing the sign-in sheet, and we went and have our seats.
Yeah.
The receptionist comes out a couple moments later. She looks down at the sign-in sheet.
Yeah.
She looks into the crowd. She looks at the sign-in sheet. She looks into the crowd.
And then?
And says, oh, I am going to have a difficult time with this name.
So she was being honest?
Abdomen?
Okay. Well, your name is relatively unique in this country and culture. Is it really that surprising?
I had never heard abdomen before.
Okay. Well, yay.
My parents grabbed my hand and we walked to the front. She apologized and said, I am so sorry. That is a very difficult name.
Okay, so she was trying her best and she was not doing anything malicious. There was no sense of malicious intent. Okay.
Then she asked a question that would change the trajectory of my life.
Oh my gosh. Wait. So at 9 years old, or at least thereabouts, and your first day at school, this lady, the school secretary, asked you a question that would change the course of your life? Man, all right, here we go. I can't imagine. Are you guys ready for this? This must be pretty profound. Is it going to be something like, what would you like me to call you?
Do you have a nickname for her?
Yeah. Yeah, you know, because no one else would be asked that question. No one else would be asked that question. Only you. Only you. Okay.
Her. And without a second thought, my father said, Abby.
And is that your nickname, or did you just make that up?
I had never heard him call me that before, but
so it's your father's fault.
On that day, as I registered for the 4th grade, I became Abby, which later turned to Abby.
Okay. And you, I mean, you're only a 4th grader, but all right.
When we arrived home, my father let me know that names, going by Abby, would make things a lot less complicated for me.
I don't know. I mean, I really like my name, right? Unfortunately, my name does easily rhyme with several other things, but so do a lot of people's names, right? So you go to school, and even though my name isn't exactly exotic, it's not usual. You don't hear it very often. And so kids would make fun of me all the time. They'd have rhymes for me and call me this and that and the other and whatever. But I couldn't change my name. I never changed my name. I still liked my name. It's a family name. So, okay. Your father made a decision on your behalf. Is that going to be patriarchy? Maybe that's patriarchy.
I didn't know what he meant then, but 25 years later.
Really? It took you 25 years to figure out the context of that decision? Okay.
I went by Abby.
Uh-huh.
You see, don't get me wrong. Nicknames can be great.
But
they can be a term of endearment amongst family, fun inside jokes with friends.
But
they can even make life easier when you go order your caramel macchiato at Starbucks and they ask that question, what is the name for your order? But I went by a nickname that I couldn't relate with.
And between 9 years old and 25 years old, you stuck with it. That was your choice.
I didn't get to choose it.
Nonsense. It was not your legal name. It was a nickname, and you could have dropped it at any time you chose.
And quite frankly, it just wasn't me.
Well, then, I'm sure the effort to change that was very, very difficult. I mean, unless you started signing legal documents as Abby or something, I guess. Thank you, Adebisi. Ade or Bisi is the nickname in Nigeria. This creature is from my tribe, Yoruba, so we all do it. She's already full of shit. Oh, man. I have a subject matter expert here. Yeah, just like when I had... oh, my God, my brain is suddenly freezing. What's wrong with me? I just blanked. Hold on. I can't be this dumb right now, right? Jim Healis, thank goodness. Good gravy. How the hell did that happen? When I had Jim Healis on a couple shows back, when we had the weightlifter guy, subject matter expert, a SME, as I learned about in corporate America. SMEs, you're a SME for this. Oh boy. All right. Well, I will defer to Adebisi in this one, because well, I know him better. You are a him, aren't you? I'm not, you know, mispronouncing you, am I? I hope not. Okay. Anyway, yeah, Advocatus Diaboli. Yeah, no, you know, that's fair enough. Use your words, Ralph. Yeah, okay. I'll go by Ralph. If you guys like Ralph, that's fine. It's not my real name, but hey, it's a name. You know what? If I'll take it as a nickname. Scribe, long for Ralph.
You see, for a lot of ethnic names, this is how our name evolves.
Your father changes it to make life a little easier for you around children, and that's how it evolves. Families, okay. I mean, all right.
I work in youth development, predominantly with youth of color, and often I hear adults tell youth, go into that job, tell them who you are, be your authentic self.
I hear that same kind of sentiment a lot too. It usually deals with DEI and ESG and all that kind of stuff.
As someone who works closely with this youth and someone who's walked in similar shoes.
You mean you two were a young person at one point, or are you referring to something a little bit more specific than that? Thank you, Assassin of the Gray. Don't call me that, please. I don't like it. Thank you. Roll credits. Yeah. It's quite simple. It's quite simple. If you have a name that is not common within the country or culture that you are currently living in, it might take the people around you some time to get used to it, but that's what empathy is for. If you were dropped into an environment and a culture with a name set, tell you what, I wonder what would have happened if our speaker had ended up in Poland instead of America. Do you think she would have struggled with the names in Poland as compared to the sometimes very monosyllabic names that we have a lot of the time in America? Dave, John, and so on. Do you think she would have had a hard time there? Do you think that would make her a bad person for struggling with names in a dialect, in a language that she wasn't familiar with? No. The answer is no. It really doesn't. Would that make anybody she spoke to or attempted to speak to a victim for her difficulty in pronouncing a name from a culture and a language that she wasn't familiar with? No. No, it wouldn't. So, anyway.
I am here to tell you that authenticity is a privilege.
Privilege, right on the board. Let's circle that one. All right. Speaking of which, let's go over the bingo card real quick to remind ourselves what we are listening for. Plays victim. I think I might be jumping the gun here, but I think that might be inherent to this one. So putting that one there. Remember, this is bingo card C, everybody. C as in caramel macchiato. Sorry, caramel macchiato. Links are in the description. Leaves out vital context. No, so far nothing is. I don't have any questions so far. I don't feel like I've not been given anything in particular, unless I want to count Adebisi's little pop-up video trivia there about Nigerian names and nicknames. So, well, if she does nothing else in this, let's just wait and see. If she does nothing else, I'll take that as a basis for that. Okay, weightless example. I guess we'll have to wait and see what her argument ultimately is. I'll wait a minute. Anecdote that probably never happened. I could see, admitting that your father gave you a nickname to help out with a new place that you're going to, that's the only real anecdote I've heard so far, so I can take that. Benevolent condescension, we'll probably get there. Self-vilification or wretchedness, I would doubt it. Feminism, not yet. She hasn't talked about gender. Sales pitch for product or service. She's mentioned her job, but she hasn't leaned on it yet or named the location or anything, so let's wait on that. Microaggressions or unconscious bias, I think we'll probably get there. Maybe even explicitly. We'll see. Patriarchy, if nothing else is said, I'll probably lean on Dad's decision to give her a new name at the beginning, just because that's part of her presentation. Let's see. Circling free space, by the way, because it's free. Economic disparity, not yet. Mind reading or assumes motives. I'd be surprised if we didn't get there. Attempt to coin new buzzword or buzz phrase. No, not yet. Word salad. No, I've understood everything. Diversity, equity, and or inclusion. Not Yeah, she has talked about authenticity, and that often goes hand in hand with the DEI kind of mindset, but I'm going to wait and see. Marginalized or marginalization, I think that might be inherent to this situation, but I'll wait and see if she says it explicitly. Contradicts own point or argument, we'll see. Systemic or institutional, not yet. A list, not yet. White supremacy, not yet. We'll wait and see. Argumentative non sequitur, not that I can think of. And lastly, collectivizes own demographic. Yes, youth of color, I think she said at one point. So circling that one. Okay, so far on bingo card C, we have plays victim, childhood or family anecdote, privilege, free space, and collectivizes own demographic. Several others are likely, but we'll wait and see. And with that, let's proceed.
And not all of us have the privilege of walking into a room and introducing ourselves by our real names.
Who was stopping you? Seriously, who was stopping you? I recall, and I know this is just me, and I know this is just anecdotal. I recall both in elementary school and a couple of times in junior high where a teacher or an administrator, when taking a roster or something else, would ask someone, do you have a name you prefer? Right? Or do you have a nickname, depending on the circumstance? Because if somebody walks in and says, my name is Michael, and they say, well, do you like Michael or Mike? Right? Something like that. Or different things to that end. It wasn't just someone with a ethnic name. It was most kids' names because they're trying to make you feel comfortable, get familiar with you, especially if you have a nickname or something that will separate you from the other 7 Michaels in the classroom. It's sometimes a little bit easier to do. Yeah. So, but anyway, who was stopping you from using your real name? You could have told every kid in your 4th grade classroom the very day you walked in, my full name is, and explain it to the kids and where you came from and how to pronounce it. And I bet you dollars to donuts, within about 3 days, those kids would be saying your name correctly. And then most of those kids, unless you moved a lot, would probably be the same kids you'd grow up with in the school system going forward for years to come. And everybody would know how to say your name. The teachers would know, and on and on. And it wouldn't have been a problem. But all that aside, who is stopping you from using your real name?
But is that such a bad thing?
Wait. Okay, now I need to go back because Try that again.
In similar shoes, I am here to tell you that authenticity is a privilege, and not all of us have the privilege of walking into a room and introducing ourselves by our real names. But is that such a bad thing?
If it wasn't, why are you putting on this talk?
What's in a name after all, as Shakespeare said?
Personal identity, family connection, perhaps some kind of heritage. There was I've told this story before, speaking of names. A friend of mine, this is several years ago now, he had a last name. I'll just say it was Jones. And I knew him as James Jones for several years. And then one day he walked in and he said, hey, everybody, just so you know, I've changed my last name. It's now Johnson. And people asked, oh, why? And he said, well, Jones is my father's last name, and my father is a sick, sadistic jerkwad. I'm being kind in my language for the sake of the family show here, who did very terrible things to my family members, and I don't want to be associated with him. So I changed my name. And we were all like, you got it. And I don't think anybody ever talked to him or referred to him again with his father's last name, just out of sort of mutual support and respect. So yeah, a name can mean a lot of things to some people. Some people don't care. I don't know. What is in a name? Why is it important to you? If it doesn't matter, then why are we here?
As it turns out, a lot.
Okay.
Names are powerful.
Mm-hmm. You know what the most powerful name is? Do you guys know? Muad'Dib. Just be careful where and when you say it, because it is a killing word.
They're the first indicator of who a person is.
Really? Because I've been told over and over and over again, if you don't see color, you don't see me. I've been told so many different iterations of what identity is that has nothing to do with someone's name. I have a hard time believing you. And it's not just you. It's just what I've been told endless times over the last 7 years.
Names often tell you about a person's gender.
Pat. Michael, for instance. There are girls out there named Michael. It's not common, but it does happen. They could. But am I assuming somebody's gender just based on their name? You ever see The Young Ones? You remember Vivian? Oh, Vivian. Didn't know how to use a door.
Their religion.
Okay. Let's hold on a second here. Just as it is very difficult for me to get on board with the idea that I can assume to know anything about someone simply based on their skin color, it is just as tenuous a notion that I'm going to start making assumptions about someone's gender necessarily, and especially something as abstract and ethereal as someone's religion just based on their name. I mean, I could guess at the very least that perhaps their family line might come from a particular place in the world or something, but religion? Really? Okay, I mean, if you say so.
Their culture?
Well, their culture or simply the culture from which their family descends? Because, I mean, I don't think I need to overstate this.
And in some cultures, names have a significant tie to a person's destiny in life.
Really? Okay. What destiny is guaranteed by your name?
The selection of names.
Whoa. There was a cut there. You notice that? Hold on. Just watch her face and her position between the close-up and the back-off. I just want to verify. The link to the originals in the description. The only editing I did on this was to take out a little bit of musical beat stuff at the beginning, and that's it. I don't cut anything out of TEDx's of consequence to the presentation, at least.
Since destiny in life. The selection of names are often more than likes and dislikes, especially in countries in Africa.
I'll have to take your word for it, but I will also defer to my subject matter expert in the audience.
So Abiodun means born during a festive period.
Abiodun. See, it wouldn't be that difficult to get down. If I spent 2 days in class with you in elementary school, I'd probably have it down within a day or two. Abiodun. Okay, I got it. Wasn't that tough? It's not something I'm familiar with, but I can get it down. I'm not dumb. My mom thinks I'm smart.
Whereas Abby, it's a nice name.
But are you about to insult all the Abbies out there? All the actual, my legal name is Abby, not Abigail, but Abby.
But it didn't mean anything to me.
Your father gave it to you. I don't know. That might mean something to me. If he came up with a pet name for me, okay.
When it comes to selecting names and ethnic names, my doctoral dissertation is on this notion that
what?
Ethnic names and being called by your ethnic name creates a sense of validation.
Your ethnic name. So a name uncommon within the culture you live in. Is that what it is? Ethnic name? Okay. My name is ethnic if you go to particular countries. Its origins are not from here. Okay.
The research that I conducted generated a couple themes. And one of those themes says when immigrants are called by their actual name, it creates a sense of validation.
Okay. You chose to go by Abby for 25 years. You chose this. No one made you go by Abby. No one is still making you go by Abby. So who was depriving who of validation for those 25 years? Could it have been you?
However, when people in the dominant group,
The dominant group. You mean everybody without your name?
mispronounce or do not call immigrants by those names,
You chose to go by Abby. And this is the part that I always love. You know, if someone mispronounces a name, obviously they all know how to pronounce it correctly and are choosing to mispronounce it. All racists, all xenophobes, they know how to pronounce every name on the planet correctly and choose to pronounce them incorrectly at every single instance in order to insult that person. Just so you know, racists are universal translators.
it creates a sense of void and shame, which in turn makes the immigrants ashamed of their own name.
Really? Really, they have no self-esteem whatsoever. They're that fragile. Someone mispronouncing. Okay. I mean, going back to my Starbucks story, I'll tell you, I was really put into a Twilight Zone experience when they said Ralph, and I stood there like an idiot. Because, I mean, Starbucks decided that I was Ralph that day. I should have known. I did feel ashamed. I should have known that I was Ralph at that point. I mean, I didn't think for a moment that I was going to end up stealing Ralph's hot cocoa by accident. No, I should have known that was my shame. My shame. Oh boy. Let's see. She might actually get to unconscious bias or microaggressions, so let's wait.
So
a needle pulling thread.
It is important that, right, we pronounce these names accordingly.
Okay. Abiadon. Did I get that right? Abiadon? I'm trying. It's not out of insult. It's out of an attempt to understand. Right? If I get it wrong, it's because I'm trying to get it right. Out of respect. But no, everything has to... If someone comes up and doesn't get it right on the first try, what? They're a bad person? You're going to take it personally? You've been somehow harmed to your soul as a result?
By pronouncing the names correctly, it not only helps restore pride.
The operative word in self-esteem is self.
It does create a sense of validation.
That is not... Your validation is not my problem.
Of course, integration into the society is beneficial for both the immigrant and the society.
It depends. Well, if you're talking about integration or assimilation, because...
But total assimilation can cause significant cultural loss.
Okay. Who was forcing you to assimilate by completely dropping your name and going by Abby? Who was forcing you to do that? I haven't heard at any point in your life that someone forced you to use the name Abby. Unless you're talking about like fear of your father in some way, shape, or form. Okay.
For the immigrated person.
The immigrated person.
There's a strong connection between identity and name.
You don't say. No, okay. No, she's absolutely correct. It's just, again, I don't hear that sentiment expressed very often at all. Identity as a concept these days usually has everything to do with everything but an individual's actual identity. It's always about demographics. So for her to talk about an individual's identity, signified by a name is actually, I mean, it's kind of a comforting notion. It's kind of nice to hear once in a while.
People who change their name also change or alter their identity, even if in that given moment.
Of course they're changing their identity, because if they legally change their name, then am I... okay, what if I told you that's benevolent condescension? I'm sorry. That's just, what if I told you that if you change your name, you've changed your... Yes. Yes. But does that then mean that I've completely changed everything about who I am? I mean, yes, names are far more significant to identity than other things, but changing a name does not then change the entire character of a person. Or are we going that direction too? Well, she's already told us that names indicate one's destiny, so.
And names and identity go way beyond the immigrant population.
You don't say.
There are names that are culturally out of place or different.
Yes.
I used to know a boy named Ashley.
A boy named Ashley. Okay. Yeah. No, I've. There's been at least one Ash or Ashley. Yeah. Well, I mean Ash from Evil Dead. You know, Ashley. That's his name. Ashley.
I know a boy named Ashley growing up.
Did he have a chainsaw on his hand?
Ashley was teased and ridiculed for his name.
Wow, just like me.
By the time we got to about high school age, he started going by Lee.
So wait, he got teased for his name. Your father suggested a nickname to avoid you getting teased. He was a friend of yours. Did he know your real name? Did you stand alongside him as an ally and go with your real name too to show him support, to validate him, to show that he didn't have anything to be ashamed of? I'm guessing not, since you went through your entire 25 years, whatever, without doing it.
Often when I have this conversation around names, I think about Ashley and I wonder if he ever did find himself in his name or if Lee lives on.
I don't know. What difference would it make? Did it fundamentally change who he was, do you think?
Now, you may be wondering, if names are indeed this powerful, why do immigrants change their names?
Changing names is not relegated to immigrants. You didn't change your name. You went by a nickname of your own volition and choice for 25 years. I mean, unless there's some element of this story you're not telling us where for some time you've legally changed your name, you didn't change your name.
Why do people like Lee get a new name?
It's effectively a nickname. It's not a new name. I'm known now more here than anywhere else in my life as Scribe. It's not my real name. It's a chosen name. It's a nom de plume, a pseudonym, an alias, an AKA. But I'm still me. Whether I'm Scribe or Ralph or my real name doesn't really matter. Now, some have more sentimental meaning to me than others. Ralph, not so much. Scribe, after 7 years of doing this, it means something. I've built that name into meaning something as a signifier of some aspect of my life and my interest. My real name is a family name. There's a lot of significance there, a lot of sentimentality. But if I decided tomorrow to legally change my name to Ralph for some reason, I'd still be me. I probably would have made a bad decision because apologies to any Ralphs out there, but I mean, look at myself in the mirror. I say, I don't see a Ralph. Yeah, I just don't. But anyway, okay, where were we again? Everybody's name is what? Huh?
In hopes of social integration.
You kept up Abby for 25 years. You are guilty of the very crime you are complaining about now. No one made you go by Abby. Nobody.
Why do people with culturally different sounding names use nicknames at Starbucks? How many people actually use their real names at Starbucks?
I do, and I got Ralph.
Okay, well, for those of us that don't.
like 5 people in the audience raised their hands, and she's like, whoops. Let's go back to that real quick, just for those of you. Sorry for those of you listening at home or on the drive home or something, but they cut to the audience for like a split second. And I think she was expecting everybody in the audience to raise their hands, but okay, so you've got, look at all these folded arms, and then you got 1, 2, 3, like 3, maybe 4 or 5 people. Maybe I can't see the whole crowd. That's quite a crowd. So yeah, out of, I'm going to say 20, 25 people in the audience, 4 people raised their hands. Yeah, that didn't land so well. And you, I love this guy up here, this Bill Gates looking guy, his arms folded. Oh man.
Okay, well, for those of us that don't, think about your why.
My why? Probably because it's shorter. You know, if I'm a Catherine, maybe I'll say Kathy, just because that's what people call me, and it's less ink because I'm environmentally conscious or something.
I used to think that my why was because my name was too difficult.
Your name is not that difficult. It's 3 whole syllables. It's not that difficult.
And I understand that my why is because I didn't want to bring shame to the person pronouncing my name.
Okay, that's mind reading assumes motives if I didn't already circle it, and I didn't. So circling mind reading assumes motives. Okay.
And let's not forget, it goes both ways. Immigrants also struggle with dominant culture names.
I knew plenty of kids growing up who were not immigrants, but were given family names that were difficult for the most part. And they still stuck with them, or they gave themselves a nickname or whatever. It was their choice. This is not an immigrant issue.
The difference is they are expected to try.
Oh, they are they?
English, I will tell you, is a very difficult language.
Yes. And you know how easy a language Nigerian would be for me? And I know the language is probably not actually called Nigerian, but all the same, because I'm a dumb guaylo, probably pretty difficult. And I probably mispronounce a whole lot of stuff in the process of trying to learn it. So,
especially for people who migrate here at a later age, like my mother.
If I migrated to any country on the planet that didn't speak English naturally or in some kind of major capacity, I would be lost. I would be done. Just look at the videos over on Tailed Features channel where he's trying to teach me Scottish Gaelic, okay? A language that comes from my ancestry. I am done. I would starve to death. I'd be driven out as some kind of demon or something from any other place I'd go on the planet because I would be helpless. What does that have to do with anything? Does that mean I have to change my name?
I had a friend growing up named Ryan.
Well, you got a lot of friends growing up. I envy you.
Ryan was a girl, another unusual name pairing giving gender norms.
I knew a girl named Ryan. Okay.
Ryan, spelled R-Y-A-N, was very difficult for my mother to pronounce, and she kept pronouncing her Rain.
Well, then your mother must be a racist. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I guess given the lessons you've told us so far, your mother was not validating your friend and in fact was making her ashamed, right?
It was not for lack of effort.
Oh, so you're extending that benefit of the doubt to your mother. Oh, okay. All right.
But because that RY combination was very difficult for her to say.
And Is that any kind of extension of that same benefit of the doubt you'd like to give to others in your life, either now or retroactively, given your name and the circumstances that on the flip side were very similar?
It took years of practice and intentionality for my mother to be able to say Ryan.
Right. She was making an honest effort to pronounce something she was not used to and was outside of her lingual comfort zone, let's say. Okay. And can you at least extend the notion of your mother to people that you encounter in life who might struggle with your name? Can you?
Going back to the day that I adopted Abby.
Okay. When you were 9 years old.
I think about what my parents could have done differently.
No one was stopping you from not using Abby. You were not locked into that name. The very day your father said that, you could have gotten up in front of class, which most teachers do, and you could have said, my name is, but you didn't, and you made that choice for 25 years.
I think about what the receptionist could have done differently.
By asking if you had a nickname like every other kid. Okay.
Could my parents have helped her pronounce my name?
They could have, sure. Or you could have taken the initiative with your own agency and done it yourself.
Could they have accepted the mispronunciation as Ryan did for many years?
I don't know if I can accept the mispronunciation of mispronunciation. But you know what? I'm going to extend to you the credit that not every word is sometimes easy to roll off the tongue on the fly. I'm not going to hold it against you. As much as I'm an English major, and supposedly that means I know how to pronounce words, which oftentimes it doesn't mean I actually know how to pronounce words. But, you know, if you give a man a reputation of getting as an early riser, that man can get up at noon, right? Okay. Anyway. Yes, things could have gone much differently for you at 9 years old, and you made a choice for 25 years not to change it.
Could the receptionist have asked how you pronounce my name?
Wasn't she effectively doing so by saying it, apologizing? Maybe she was expecting to be corrected. I don't know.
Could she have also understood that there was a power dynamic at play?
A power dynamic. You mean the part where she looked at you and looked to your parents and deferred to your father's words of, she goes by Abby? That kind of power dynamic where she was asking you a question? She was deferring to your choice? I mean, that dynamic?
When it comes to opportunity and power, people.
Oh boy, here we go. Sorry, back up a little bit. I already circled plays victim. I could circle it a second time, I suppose.
Opportunity and power, people who don't have opportunity and power are at their mercy.
Oh, for crying out loud. Okay. At 9 years old, or I should say, looking back on your experience at 9 years old, after you gave us the story about your mother, who did her best, and it took her years, you said, to be able to pronounce the name Ryan. And I am sure your mother never had any ill intent or meant to make Ryan feel bad or anything else, correct? I'm going to assume that. I didn't get anything from your story that told me that. But even with that being said, you cannot extend retroactively the benefit of the doubt to that school administrator that she had no ill intent, and more likely than not, if you had told her how to pronounce your name, she would have worked to say it correctly, because she is doing a job that is servicing children on a daily basis and trying to make everybody feel welcome. She asked if you had a nickname, not because she was trying to deny your real name, but to find out if there was something that would make you more comfortable. You don't know that she was asking it for herself. You assume that. You're turning her into a villain retroactively while your mother is still a good person. But oh no, this was a power dynamic. She had all the power. She had all the power when she was asking you what you would prefer. And nobody was stopping you from using your full name.
If we go back in time, my parents
whoa. These edits, what are they cutting out of this? I would really like to know what's being cut out, because I feel like, it's hard to feel like I'm giving a presentation a fair appraisal if I know that portions are being sliced out, maybe something relevant, but I'll never know.
Opportunity and power. People who don't have opportunity and power are at their mercy. So if we go back in time, my parents would have probably did the same thing.
Then why are you complaining about it?
Because for them, a name was not going to stop their daughter from getting into school.
It wasn't stopping you from... If you had used your full name, if your parents had corrected the lady on how to pronounce it, you would have still gotten in to school. There was no gatekeeping over a name to get into school. You were at the school. You were enrolled in the school. That you were already on the list. That's why she called out your name before you had the encounter. You were already part of the paperwork. Your name had already been accepted. You were already on the roll. What are...
What? What is that? What the fuck is that?
No. That was... No. Just... No.
So I want to share some tricks with you.
Oh boy. Tricks are for kids.
Things that I do when I see names that I am unfamiliar with.
Oh, do you attempt to pronounce them or ask the person, how do you pronounce this name? Like I do? I mean, most of the time in chat, if I see a name that I'm not familiar with or that I'm having a problem pronouncing, I give it my best shot, and then I ask, did I get that right? Because I want to get it right. I want to learn someone's name as best as I can. Am I going to make mistakes in the future, mix something up? Sure. But, there's no intention in me of alienating somebody or giving them a nickname they don't want. I mean, oftentimes people get nicknames around here and it's great. Like senior staff reporter and chief Florida's correspondent Colleen Bernier. I mean, it's kind of a long nickname, but it's a nickname, sort of. Actually, what do you call a name that you add stuff onto? Nickname's usually shorter. What do you call a name that you've added a bunch of stuff, like a title, maybe? I don't know. Anyway,
because I still struggle with names that I am unfamiliar with.
Oh, okay. Well, that must make you a bad person. That must make you someone who shames others. That must make you someone who has opportunity and privilege, opportunity and power that the other person does not possess. Right? What is the lesson that I'm supposed to be? Okay. You know what? I'm circling contradicts own point or argument because she rightfully classifies her mother as doing her best with no ill intent, but she is implying opposite to anyone else who might have the same struggle.
One, I always recognize my bias.
Okay, well, first off, boy, oh boy, a list, because it's one of several, and then bias, unconscious or otherwise, because that's been implied as well, but I'll take it. I'm circling that one on the board. Microaggressions or unconscious bias. All right.
I am very aware that names mean something to someone.
Uh-huh.
I am very mindful about pronunciation, and I ask.
Pronunciation. Not pronunciation. Pronunciation. I'm just being helpful here.
How to pronounce a person's name. Here's what I think you can do.
Okay, because obviously nobody else usually does that as a matter of course. Everybody else is mean-spirited or something.
You can also work on your biases and realize that not every name has a look.
Not every name has a look? Really? Okay, then what was the title of this again? Sorry. What's your Starbucks name? Reclaiming ethnic and black names. Can I circle contradict's own point or argument again?
You can ask for how to pronounce a name.
Yes, which is the polite thing to do. And most people do. And that school administrator effectively was.
You can begin to do your work. You can be mindful of your facial expression.
Oh, here we go. Microaggressions.
Here's what we can do.
Oh, here's what we can. Isn't there a list coming? Are we still on one? I guess we're still on one.
As parents, as employers, as employees, as friends, as colleagues.
Yeah. What more could I do except attempt to say someone's name and or ask how to pronounce it?
We can begin to do our work.
You said that twice now. What work do I need to do aside from attempting a name and or asking how to pronounce it?
We can ask how names are to be pronounced.
You just said that a minute ago.
We can be very mindful of how we look when we see an unfamiliar name on a piece of paper.
Yeah, okay. Well, here's the thing. I'm expressing to someone that I'm trying to get it right. I'm not wincing at the name out of hatred, right? If I see a name I don't quite get, I'm not making a facial expression out of distaste or disgust. I'm making a facial expression out of concentration, out of a little bit of frustration that I might say it wrong because I do not want to insult the person I'm talking to. I want to get it right. I also think of it as kind of a challenge. Can I get it right on the first try? Because that experience I had at the video store all those years ago where I said Charpentier instead of Carpenter, that felt good. It felt good that I got it right on the first try. And the reaction from the customer when he brightened up like it was Christmas Day was something that I'll never forget. That kind of connection, that kind of moment of understanding and clicking in my brain of something outside of my usual experience. That's why, because I want to get it right. Right? And if I do, great. If I don't, well, then I follow up with, well, how do you say it? Can you tell me?
I think that if we begin to do this, we move closer to our end goal.
What is our end goal?
Think about your name.
I have been this entire Ralph, yes.
Are you privileged with a culturally acceptable name?
Am I privileged with a culturally acceptable name? Your name is acceptable. What are you talking about? I know it is often said, and it's sometimes used to great effect by some people in a way that is politically controversial, but I still believe in the principle of this country, America, that we are indeed a melting pot. That we, on any given day, are likely to encounter things, food, styles, names, whatever, from all over the world. Okay? So culturally unfamiliar. I tell you what, if I meet somebody who does not have a name I'm familiar with and they are an American resident and or citizen, you know what I think? I think that's America. Yay, America. People from all over the place. People whose families come from all over the place are here. Maybe that's just too apple pie in the sky for some people. Maybe that's too idealistic. But honestly, your name, if you're an American citizen, is an American name. Maybe that's controversial. I don't know.
Maybe a simpler or easy name.
If someone chooses to do so, as you did for 25 years.
Now think about those of us that don't.
What should I think about you? What should I assume to know about you because of a name I'm unfamiliar with?
Think about what happens if you didn't.
If I didn't what?
Think about the work that needs to be done for the collective us to be better.
How much damage did your mother do to Ryan by mispronouncing her name every time she met her? Or am I not supposed to think about that because she's your mother? Is Ryan psychologically scarred for life as a result of interactions with your mother?
So now that I've shared a little bit about what I do, what you could do, what...
No, wait. There was supposed to be a list. You said number 1. Where's number 2? Where's number I thought tricks was plural. Where's...
we could do.
Yeah.
I think it's important to be very mindful of it and be conscious of it.
Yes. Okay. Are you conscious of the fact that nobody was forcing you to use Abby and that you chose to use Abby for 25 years?
Think about names often.
Uh-huh.
Names are these things that if it doesn't impact you, you probably don't think about often.
You mean if I'm not super sensitive about it, it's not a problem for me? Oh, gosh, imagine that kind of mathematics.
But I'm hopeful that after this conversation, we can begin to see the power behind a name and keep it at the forefront.
Muad'Dib.
I know that I will do my part.
Will you? Because so far it seems like you're going to vilify everybody except your mother for not pronouncing names correctly on the first try.
I know that I will continue to work to build a more inclusive culture.
Oh, inclusive. Well, diversity, equity, and or inclusion. I'm circling that one. Hi, caramba. Okay, speaking of names, John Miller, thank you so much. The list was lost in translation. Hi-oh. Thank you, John Miller. Appreciate it. We're almost done. Almost done.
And I also want to challenge those of us with difficult names or culturally unacceptable names.
Culturally unacceptable. You know, I think you're the only one classifying your name that way.
Tell people what your name is.
Ha! My name is what? My name is who? My name is Slim Shady.
Maybe they can say it.
Maybe they can. Did you try that over 25 years? No, you didn't.
Maybe they can't.
Like your mother, who was trying, but just couldn't form the syllables correctly, but not out of ill intent, right? Like most people.
But will actually try.
But that's what the school administrator lady did. She tried. And if you had told her how to say your name correctly, she would have kept trying. Good gravy.
Look, I know it's difficult.
Is it? Say your name again.
I've been there.
Say it one more time for me.
I lived it.
One more time. One more time.
I know what it means when your name stops you from the opportunity of a lifetime.
But what? Wait, whoa. Okay, that is burying the lead. We are 11 minutes and 10 seconds into an 11-minute and 33-second presentation, and now your name stopped you from the opportunity of a lifetime? What?
I know what it feels like when your name prevents you from that job.
What job? What?
But I think if we all agree to do the work, we can move in a better direction.
What?
I ask you to challenge the status quo.
What?
I know that I will do my part.
You already said that.
The question is, will you?
Oh.
Thank you.
And one guy stands up. Okay, great. Abby Adun, Did I get that right? I'm not going to go back and try. I'm not going to go back and listen. Just tell me, did I get it right? Abiodun? Abiodun. Maybe Adabisi can help me. I'm trying to get it right. I'm trying to do my part. Good gravy. Okay, well, with that, we move on to the bingo card. Let me zoom in on it a little bit here. Is that good enough? Good enough, good enough for you. It's good enough for me. It's good enough. It's good enough for me. Yeah, 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 yeah. Anybody you can name the singer, the song title, and if you know what movie that song is associated with, you are a super nerd. And I will recognize you by your name in a moment, as soon as somebody goes, don't look it up, don't Google it. Either you know it or you don't. Oh, hey, there we go. Here it comes. Come on, StreamYard, catch up. There we go. First one in the chat, Zed the Snarky, good enough from the Goonies. You didn't give me the artist, but 2's pretty good. And Assassin of the Gray gave the, okay, so between the two of you, between Zed and Assassin, we got Cyndi Lauper, good enough, and Goonies. All right. Good job, guys. Good job. All right, so let's go over the bingo card one more time myself, and then if you guys have any arguments for squares to be circled, I will take those momentarily. First off, leaves out vital context. Vital context. I'm sure there was something in there. Yeah. Ryan. Right? I mean, Ryan was her friend. Ryan had the experience of having her name constantly mispronounced by her mother. Was Ryan harmed? I mean, if her theory is to be held true, then Ryan was being psychically damaged every time that she came over to visit, right? So, she didn't say that. Why didn't she say that? All right, updating that one. Weightless example. A weightless example. Starbucks. Really, Starbucks, because the name they put on the cup in her instance was the name you chose for yourself. In fact, the whole Abby thing is a weightless example because that was a matter of choice. She was not dictated by law to do so. None of that. She wasn't forced to. Anecdote that probably never happened. Oh, boy. See, I could believe that her mother had a hard time pronouncing Ryan. I could believe that somebody had a difficult time pronouncing our speaker's name. I don't know that there's an anecdote in here that was outside the realm of possibility. But that's just my initial reaction. I'm happy to take arguments otherwise. Self-vilification or wretchedness. I mean, there was an implication there that she was just as guilty as anybody else of dealing with names that she couldn't pronounce. But I never got the sense that she was like, I'm terrible because of XYZ PDQ. Not really. Feminism, no. Sales pitch for product or service. The closest you could come is Starbucks. Caramel macchiato. But she did say, how many of you do Starbucks name? Is that enough? Seems kind of thin. I'll leave it for somebody else. Patriarchy. I am going to circle patriarchy because she deferred to her father's knee-jerk reaction for 25 years. Yeah, if not an actual patriarchy, there's at least a sentimental patriarchy taking place there. Economic disparity. I don't know. Does my name prevented me from getting that dream opportunity job or whatever? I don't know. Attempt to coin new buzzword or buzz phrase. There was nothing new in there. Word salad. I can't say there was word salad. I mean, I understood what she was saying. And even though I circle it for WTF, that's just because her example contradicted each other. That was the part that it wasn't word salad as far as I know. Marginalization. Yes. The fear of being marginalized, the fear of being a part of marginalization is what drove her to stay as Abby and drove Ashley to go as Lee. So I think that makes sense. Alan Thyler, thank you again. I always say my name is Al. Guess why? LOL. If you'll be my bodyguard, I can be your long lost pal. I can call you Eddie, and Eddie, when you call me Al. Call me Al. Sorry. I am the autistic jukebox. Okay, let's see. Systemic institutional. Yes, at least by implication between the college, the school, society in general, systemic bias, a culturally, how does she put it? Unwanted name or something. Yeah, circling that one. White supremacy. Yeah, dominant group. That is the kinder, friendlier way of saying white supremacy. Dominant group. Circling that one. Let's see. Argumentative non sequitur. I don't know why is there there's a tiny little circle there. Did I just do that? Yeah, there we go. Argumentative non sequitur. Something she brought up and never came back to, had nothing to do with anything. I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to need some help with those. Okay, so that's where I'm at. Boy, we are on the cusp of a couple of bingos, so it is your time, guys. If you have arguments for squares to be circled, please put them in the chat now. Be sure to tag me. Wait, did I get a bingo and I didn't realize it? Oh, I did! I did! I was so focused on the next square, I didn't notice. Oh, well, that means I can finally, because I had hoped to do so yesterday, I can use my brand new bingo stinger. Are you guys ready? I made this for yesterday. I'd hoped we get a bingo. We didn't, so this is the premiere. We got a bingo.
Bingo.
What? Bingo! Yeah!
Of course! Of course!
There you go. You want to see it one more time? Doesn't count as a second bingo, but here we go.
Bingo.
What? Bingo! Yeah!
Of course! Of course!
There we go. The new bingo stinger. All right. Anyway, now it is your time for arguments for squares to be circled. Advocatus Diabli, Scribe-like, can we count her giving us a list of one as an attempt to start a new buzz craze? No. Just one in a row. Go for one more. Go for it. Yeah. Connect one. Yeah, no. Let's see. Advocatus Diabli again. Incomplete list. Non sequitur. No. I mean, it would have to be points on the list were non sequiturs, and her 1 point was relevant to the conversation, more or less. So, yeah, I think we're fine. Urcule de Stefano, Jack Daniels out of a champagne glass. Why not? Well, here's the thing. If you can believe it, the picture did not originally have a guy holding a Jack Daniels bottle. It had him holding like a champagne bottle. And I didn't have any way to make that hand fit a different kind of glass. So I just had to do my best to alter the shade of the champagne to look kind of like whiskey. That is the high quality of visual editing that I do for this channel, everybody. Just so you know, my Photoshop skills, that's as far as they go. Pissed off Shih Tzu, economic disparity. She missed out on a dream job because of her ethnic name. Is that enough, though? I mean, maybe the job that she has pays more than the job that she would have had. I don't know. Adabisi, economic disparity sounds like she hit that with her saying opportunity and power multiple times. No? Yeah, okay, all right. You're starting to convince me. Of course, Adabisi seconds Shih Tzu out, and especially since the two of you sort of like spontaneously generated similar points along similar lines. I am honor bound, I think, by that kind of argumentation. So with that,
Bingo. What?
Of course!
Our second bingo. Can we get more? I don't know. Let's keep going. So yeah, economic disparity is taken care of. Let's see. Did I miss any up here? Let me check. Here we go. Grand Inquisitor Tyr Alexander, non sequitur. The whole missing out on a job because of her name. She just dropped but bombed. That, I hate to double dip, but that's actually that economic disparity just by a hair. But that alone, that actually counts a lot stronger. No offense to Shih Tzu or Adebisi, but that's probably a stronger argument. And gosh, consequently, because of that.
I had a dog, and his name was...
What?
I had a dog, and his name was...
Bingo!
Of course!
Another bingo. Oh my gosh, 3 bingos. Count them 3. Any more arguments for squares to be circled? Let's see. Advocatus, just as another one. Economic disparity. Immigrants who are typically downtrodden have it especially hard with names. Again, it's sort of like death by 1,000 cuts for the economic disparity square. There's a whole bunch of, in aggregate, there's a lot that suggests that. So, okay, all right, it's fair. It's fair. Any other arguments for squares to be circled, guys? I might be able to see one here or there, but we might be at the end of it. I'll give it another couple seconds here, and then we'll wrap things up. Neo Masaki, because all these squares make a circle. Do they? Is that like some kind of like philosophical thing? Some kind of like esoteric, existential, all squares make a circle? I don't know. Urkelade DiStefano, I thought word salad was a shoo-in from the beginning. She, like I say, she said things that were contradictory or that just, ran straight headfirst on into other things that she's said previously. But I understood everything. Nothing made me feel like it was just words for the sake of words, right? I mean, at least it's as far as I can remember. Because over the course of a TEDx, man, my bit by bit, I could miss something or something could go over my head. Advocates Diaboli, I mean, the name job thing may or not have ever happened. She's probably mind reading on that as well to boot. Well, yeah, that's also true. Without any more information, I mean, I could have circled leaves out vital context, a whole bunch of things. That job anecdote would have covered a lot of bases all by itself, but we had plenty of others. And it's a DBZ abridged reference, Scribelight. Oh, a Dragon Ball Z. There's a new Dragon Ball Z series coming out sooner or later. I just saw an ad for that. I've never watched Dragon Ball Z. Everything I know about DBZ is completely through osmosis of other people who are very much obsessed with it. Not Scribelight. Sinatra Says, I get S names in my head. Sinatra Says would be the person to talk to about Dragon Ball Z. As far as I know, he's a pretty good fan of it. Adebisi, sales pitch. She was trying to sell us on how to behave with new names. But product or service, not on argument. That's too easy because then every TEDx would be a sales pitch for a product or service. So sorry, not going with that one. But anyway, I think I'm going to call it here, guys. And gals, ladies and gentlemen. I try to be inclusive of both genders. So there we go. 3 bingos. And the new stinger. And just because I'm so proud of it, let's do it one more time.
Bingo!
What? Bingo! Yeah!
Of course! Of course!
There we go. So yeah, everyone. First, a couple things before I go. First and foremost, how about that Discord server? Yeah, the Discord server. I have one. Link is in the chat now. If you click on that and you're not already a member of the Discord server, if you click on that, you'll find yourself on the landing channel called Say Hello. And in addition to saying hello, you just have to give the secret word. The secret word will tell me and my moderators that you actually watch the show and have earned the right to become a member of the Discord server. And today's secret word is Ralph. Yes, Ralph. Just say hello, Ralph, on the channel there, and you will become a member of the Discord. Beyond that, I also have the Sunday stream upcoming, if you can believe it, Sunday morning at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern, where I'll be talking about a thing. Not sure yet. I usually decide Saturday evening because I'm just that on the ball. And beyond that, if you haven't already, please do check out the 7th anniversary extravaganza, which took place yesterday, is up on the channel right now. I had a cavalcade of guests. It was 3 hours. 2.5 of those hours were covering one TEDx because, man, there was so much to say. And that was probably the perfect TEDx to pick for that group. It was great. Thanks to everybody again for joining me either as a guest on the channel or in the chat. Beyond that, also, please take a look at the fundraisers at the top of the chat box. I really do appreciate if you do that. Okay, my ending spiel. I've done this for a couple of years now in TEDx. I think I can do it now without too many interruptions or hiccups or mispronunciations. Everyone, thank you for joining me. Moderators, thank you for keeping an eye on things. Even though everyone here is so well behaved, you have very, very little to do. And even though I already said it, kind of preempted myself. For those of you that donated either to myself or to the fundraisers at the top of the chat box, thank you so much for your generosity. Really do appreciate it. Hope you all enjoyed the show. If you'd leave a like on the way out, purportedly, that helps out with the algorithm or something. And if you do like this kind of thing, please let other people know, whether it's me or another content creator. You guys are our best algorithm oftentimes compared to YouTube. So if you like something, please do share it. And if you do on Twitter in particular, on X, if you tag me in your retweet of my content, I hope you do, because then I'll know that you did, and I can thank you personally because I really do appreciate it. Everyone, have a good rest of your Thursday night. Have a good Friday ahead of you and weekend as well. I hope you're all safe and well. If you're not well, please do get well soon, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.